Broadcasting live from beautiful, historic Marion, Ohio, it's Now with Scott Spears on WWGH 107.1 FM. Call Scott live on the air anytime at 740-383-9944. No topic is too big or too small. I'm your announcer, the man with the golden voice, Ted Williams. And now, here's your host, Scott Spears.
This is Scott Spears, and today we remember a wrestling legend who passed away Monday, sadly, at the age of 81. One of the founding members of the legendary Four Horsemen who did a whole lot of other things in his amazing career, the legendary Ole Anderson, gone at the age of 81. Joining me today to remember Ole is one of my favorite people. He's one of the best talkers, if not the best talker, in the history of professional wrestling. His in-ring performance is quoted by many as one of the greatest, and he was a dear friend of Ole Anderson for many, many years. What a pleasure it is to talk with the legendary Thunderbolt Patterson. Thunderbolt, how are you?
Heaven high there, Scott. Very good. And you?
Doing very well.
Yes, we had a great loss.
We did.
A great loss to the wrestling business, Scott.
Your friend Ole Anderson, give me your thoughts when you heard of his passing.
Well, Scott, when I called and had been talking with Ole quite some time and has been going up to see him a few times. And these last week or so, the lady, she called me and told me that Ole was fading away and we need to talk. You want to talk to him to call. And I called and I prayed with him, and I've been calling every day. And one day last week she called. A few days ago she called me and told me if you wanted, they didn't give him up, then give up on him. And I had called, and he could respond to by eye contact with her. And then a few days, he could hear what I say. And then a few days went by, his eyes was closed and he was passing on out, you know. But Ole was one of the greatest performers, one of the greatest bookers that ever stepped in the ring or in a wrestling office. And I take my hat off to him, not only by the work that he done and the so many matches that we were in and the titles we held together. And as I told you, Scott, a long time ago, that Ole would always give me a job. That Channel 17 took us all over the world, and the first fest that I was at, when I started talking about the fat cats and the wannabes, and it's all about that money, and it's all about being real. I agreed to go to. It was Atlanta there or Charlotte one, wherever. What's the big guy name that was running those there out of Charlotte? You know what I'm speaking about?
I can't. I do, but I can't remember his name. But I know what you're talking about.
I can't either right now. But anyway, that individual, man, it was. I have a plaque that Ted Turner did not even show up to the deal to accept it, and they gave it to me. And one of my nieces, I had them. She was working there at that time, and I had her to. Well, I don't know if she gave it to him or not, but she was moving, and I never did get into him. But Ole Anderson, man, lied. They have lied on him and I, about things that, I mean, I hate to even repeat it, because I know that the fans know that I don't stand for what the line people is talking about.
Thunderbolt.
I don't want to. Pardon?
Thunderbolt. I want to talk about some of this, but I want to get back to these last few conversations that you had with Ole. What was his state of mind? What were the last conversations in which he was able to participate like? What was he like?
Well, see, the last conversations with him was just, I mean, he just ready to give up. He was so sick and tired of the wrestling business that, as he say, hey, I am not fooling with it no more, not dealing with it no more, because all of the individuals, just they only brought him back up when they want to shine themselves. Ole was the original Horseman. He formed that, and all that we could talk about was, and he was real weak. And I was trying to express to him how much I cared about him and how much I appreciated him for all of these years. How every time I was able to get with the fans through television, it was through Ole Anderson. The fans are the one being denied of what's right or what's wrong or good people. And he would just listen, and I would always speak to him about prayer. And he started listening and just saying, he's ready. I would imagine that he was in a lot of pain. And he would just listen to me. And then when he got to the point where he couldn't talk real good, to understand it, he would just, I guess, to portray to the lady that was taking care of him and put a smile on his face, and just, hey, man, he was just ready to go, man, because of all of it's been a lot of years that the wrestling business has put him and I down, Well,
it's
and there's a lot of the guys out there that put me down, put Ole down, because we lack each other. And we drew money with each other,
Well, it's great that you got to have those final moments together, and as you say, prayed with him toward the very end of his life. Thunderbolt, you talked about it there, and it's not like it's hidden. The rap on Ole is that many people said, I guess, that he was racist and he used the N-word. People have made that accusation. But you always had a good relationship with him. What do you say to those people in the final analysis now that he's gone, who made that accusation?
It was just, I knew Ole was rough, and Ole told people what he felt about them, and a lot of them didn't like it. Now, here's a question that I would like to ask the fans and you, Scott. Do you think Ole would disrespect me, or do you think that I would tolerate Ole saying something to me like what? Well, I had to call his name, Teddy Long said. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I mean, individuals that they give jobs that not. Oh, see, I've talked to you here lately, and I don't want to be on that negative part, but you see the wrestling business is just like the country. has come to a almost devil, evil period in time. You understand what I'm saying?
I do, and
I mean, it seems as though people are trying to turn people. Are you following me?
I do, and I want to point out.
You can see it. You know what I'm talking about.
I do, and I want to point out here that on this remark that Ole, and as you say, Teddy Long, he's made this remark within the last 6 months, that Ole Anderson.
Well, they play it all the time. Anything that, look, it's divide and conquer. And everything that go on, Scott, listen to me. The wrestling business, it's a shame. It is a shame of they still playing the racial card. It's a shame. All of these years, there's been suppressors and suppressees. And all of the black individuals, if they don't, oh Lord, I hate to get on this.
Well,
are you feeling me?
I do, and I want to clear this up once and for all. So I'm just going to ask you it straight, and then we'll have the answer here. Did you ever hear Ole Anderson use the N-word?
No.
Okay.
No. I mean, all the time that I was around him, do you think Ole would disrespect me that way?
Well, and I think that's always been.
Or do you think that I would let somebody disrespect me like that and not say nothing or go along with it?
And I think that's always been the confusion that people had, where people were saying he was.
That's what it is, Scott. It's divide and conquer, and anything that with power or trying to be right. There's another dark side of it. They still playing the race card. The individual that kisses behind and get jobs that don't deserve them. Are you feeling me?
I do.
And it's real. And it hasn't just started. There's so many individuals that has talent that they're not even didn't use right. There's been one or two bookers that went along with everything they done. You understand what? And it's hard and difficult for me to just stick. What did I tell you the last time? I don't know anything about Vince McMahon. I never met him. I worked for his dad one time. Well, the one time that I worked for his dad, I had to whoop on Big Jess Ortega just because he didn't want to work with me. Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
I do, and that's
what I mean. Look at the Jody Hamilton, the what that Bill Ely, them individuals just lying on me, just saying that they don't love me for what you know, and I ain't done nothing to them other than take care of myself and wouldn't let them do things. And isn't that what all of them say they're trying to do?
You're exactly right, and I want to make sure.
I haven't been able to work nowhere, and something going on every night. And it's all about power. It's all about family wealth. I mean, I want to take care of my children just like they taking care of theirs. And some of that money and things should go back to the community. They haven't been doing that. They've been giving their friends and individuals millions of dollars and not giving the fans what they want, pushing it down their throat of that dark side. But thank God I'm still standing. I'm still here by the grace of God and good individuals. You know, you talk about the problems and different things. You know, we have even reached out to people to talk about something, but they wouldn't even talk about it. Am I right?
You're right. I want to read this quote here because a lot of people associate Ole Anderson with Ric Flair, and they didn't always see eye to eye. But last night,
well, I mean, see, how can they do that when Ole makes their states on them? Well, Ole tells the truth. Ole didn't care for him.
Well, and I wanna read what Ric Flair said here, because this is what he put out when he heard of Ole's passing. He said, "I am forever grateful to Ole and Gene for bringing me into the Crockett Promotions as a cousin. It launched my career. I will be grateful forever for you giving me the opportunity to become who I am today. We didn't always agree with each other, but the honest-to-God truth is, you and Gene started me. Rest in peace, my friend." And that's Ric Flair.
Well, I mean, that's the best thing he ever said about it. Well, Ole sure wouldn't say nothing, right? You know, Ole brought him in. See, they all was from, excuse me, Vern Gagne took them under their wing and learned them and taught them what they knowed. And Ole was the smartest individual that it was. Ole was in Charlotte and just a place or two, and Ole was a real booker, where they would have 10 and 15 guys doing the book. Ole done it by himself and never had no buffing. Never had no. One of the things I used to tell Ole all of the time is that I would love to have been helped him to buffer what's going on. I ran wrestling. I'm talking about, I had $36,000 in the till in the Army in Atlanta. They closed the doors at 8:30, and this was promoters and black and white individuals was part of it, of shutting it down. Because, and also that was the same that was the last time that I worked with the Sheik, and I was the North American title, and I hadn't wrestled since then. And that was the night that they took the Sheik and Joyce out of the NWA. Out of sight, out of mind. No job, nobody. You understand what I'm saying?
I do. You know, Thunderbolt, when we think about Ole Anderson, how did the two of you meet? How did you become close?
Well. When I first left Waterloo, when I first finally got Gus Karras and Bob Geigel got me in the business, and when I quit my job and went to Kansas City. Well. Well, the first match I had, I come back on Evandale, about there where Ox Baker lived or whatever. But the second time that I worked, Ole was in the Army in Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri. Gene and Ole, I can't remember who I was with, but we worked with Ole and Gene on the Army base. Gene broke the colonel's wife's shoe, and she stopped the matches. Now, I didn't see Ole anymore until I went to Charlotte, North Carolina. That was in I just come back from Australia. I left. Let's see. That was 19. And when 19. Well, okay. And I come back from Australia because I was living in Texas at the time, and Fritz asked me to go to Florida, and I went to Florida in 70, and then I went. No. Grizzly Smith. 1972, when Ann Gunkel died, that's when I went to come to Atlanta for Ann Gunkel. And when Ann Gunkel's deal went out, when they shut that down, then Ole got me. I started working here for Jim Barnett, and that was in 72, something like that.
Now, what would you say your and Ole's relationship was like?
Well, I consider him as a friend of mine, and Ole, I can imagine that Ole understood that I put asses in seats, and that's what the game is all about. It's people, you know.
You know, Thunderbolt, it's interesting because even into the Ted Turner years, the early 90s, you still came back. The famous Ole Don't You Move promo, which people still watch on YouTube all the time. Was Ole the one bringing you back to do those spots?
Well, Ole, every time I got a job, Ole would bring. I couldn't get no work until something went down. You know, you hear all of the guys talk about how much money they drawed and how they done this, but every territory like that I went into, just like I come here for Ann, and we done well until the civil rights folks, and the worst mistake I ever made was letting Jose Williams go to talk with Eddie Graham and Carl Gotch about what was going on here in Atlanta. And when I first started wrestling in Iowa, Ray Gunkel was the only individual that would even talk to me. I went into the ring, into the Hippodrome every time they was in Waterloo, challenging all of them, and Ray Gunkel was the only one that told me where I could get some boots. And when I was in Charlotte, North Carolina, when Ernie Ladd called me when Ray Gunkel died in Savannah, and Ann had money, and she started her own promotion. And all of those individuals that worked for the Iron Horn and worked for and any of them outlaw things, all of them got a chance to go back to work. I was the guinea pig. And the only way that I got back to work is Ole called me. When the thing broke on down, when Vince bought that long story and all this there. You understand what I'm saying? Ole and Ralph Freed and Fred Ward started the WCW, Georgia Championship Wrestling, and then they up there in New York bought all that out, bought that. You know, it's a long story there, man.
Well, when
but
you
Ole would bring me back, because I lived in Jonesboro.
Now, when you would go back and work with Ole, as in that famous Ole Don't You Move segment, or when you came back as a manager of Ice Train.
I didn't. No, wait a minute. When I come back as manager, man, that was nothing. See, that was during the split and the Bill Watts coming through there, and Eric Bischoff come through there. That I was supposed to manage the Steiners. That would have been awesome. But they gave me that Ice Train that Pez Train that didn't know nothing at all. And he went in and got his little piece of contract from Eric Bischoff without me. When I went in to ask Eric Bischoff, hey, what you gonna do? You know what Eric Bischoff asked me?
What's that?
Huh?
What did he do?
Eric Bischoff. You know what he asked me?
What's that?
At that time, what could I do for the business? And didn't offer me no cut. They was giving me the first contract they gave was $700,000 to Lex Luger. Do you understand what I'm saying? And I didn't know about a lot of those guys, even at that time, was getting guarantees and making money. But I was just there working. I loved wrestling. I loved the fans, and Ole would give me a job, and I could make a living. but Ole would give me a job.
When Ole would call you to come back to work, what would he say?
Will you come back to work? When I had a group home. I had a group home in Atlanta, and when Ole, do you remember that I was supposed to be a partner of Bob Armstrong, and Brad took his place.
Yep, Slamboree 94. Yep, Slamboree 93.
Okay, and worked with Ivan Koloff and Van Roski. That's when I had a group home, and that's when Ole called me to come back. And those look at those tapes, man. I mean, those tapes when excuse me. And look, there was James Barnett sitting right across from me and behind one side when Ivan and Van Rossum walked up. I was sitting at the table where Teddy Long and Bobby Walker, the kid I took in as my son. Teddy Long said, I'm sitting here with the godmother. Ron Simmons was walking back and forth behind, like, be quiet. And Barnett was the blonde, the gray-haired gentleman sitting right off. Are you feeling me just a little bit?
I do. I remember that.
And see, all of those things, they didn't have. I didn't come back until things would get bad. I took all of my boys. I had a group home. I took all of my boys. Oh boy, it's deep, man. If it had not been for Ole, I don't know what. And you know, when I well, man, I hate to see things. Oh man, unreal. It's just unreal. You know, I mean, they had a plan from the get-go. I mean, it's the race card. I mean,
You know, Thunderbolt, a lot of people remember the run you had with Ole in which you were tag team partners, and then he turned on you, and there was a feud there. How did that all come about? That was a very popular segment.
Well, look, and that was another one of my big problems. Wrestling is a business, and most of those individuals, I mean, can't wrestle or fight, okay? Okay, and Ole had a plan. Ole's a booker, and I never let nobody do nothing to me. Ole and I built Ole Anderson right there on Channel 17. I wouldn't let no. That's how you pull it up. It's there. And, you know, and on Anderson, they talk around the corner. Well, Thunderbolt was getting old, and they were using the young guys, and him and Ole were out of sight, out of mind. Are you still with me?
I'm with you. You know, Thunderbolt, one of the things, all the people who even liked Ole would say he was a gruff guy. He if it was on his mind, he let it out. How did you get past that and were able to deal with that?
I drew money, and the lies that Teddy Long and the individuals say that Ole said. Ole didn't say those things to me. Ole had more respect for me because I had respect for myself, and those individuals around didn't have respect. They'd do anything. And he'd tell them exactly how he feel about them. But Ole would never say something in the N-word in front of me. I've never heard that.
How good of a wrestler in the ring was he?
Was Ole?
Yeah.
Well, Ole could hold his own. Ole come out from up there with Vern now, man. Vern Gagne trained Vern, most of the Van Roski, Brock Lesnar, Sheldon Benjamin is the baddest thing they got up there, had up there. And he let him go in the street. But they keep all them other, See how you got me going there.
I do. Well, and it's an interesting time because Ole's gone now at age 81. He had a good long life, but how are you going to remember this guy? How should the wrestling world remember him?
Well, for one thing, they've got to respect him because he drew money. He put asses in seats, and he knew more about wrestling than most of the individuals out there. And he ran Georgia and North Carolina.
How are you going to remember him?
And I considered him as a friend of mine and a very, very good wrestling promoter because he bought into this territory.
How are you going to remember him as a person? This guy who
a friend of mine,
a friend of yours,
a friend of mine that always never fired me. Always gave me a job, or would always call me to come work when he need me. I would run.
Would you say that he in the wrestling business, as far as another wrestler would go or a booker, was your closest friend in the wrestling business?
I was yeah. I got along with Ole. He was in charge. He was a booker and also a friend. Yes, it's just a very few individuals that in the wrestling business that I consider as friends. The ones that I thought was friends or just even acquaintances. So you're going to make me say something I don't need to say.
I do. And we're certainly going to miss Ole Anderson for all that he gave to the wrestling business.
But, like I told his lady the other day, he's out of pain. He's not in any pain. And however people think about him, Ole helped a lot of people in this business, but he was honest with all of them, and that's the reason they talk about or say that. Look at it right now. Look at the things that the people are saying about him after he's gone. Why didn't they give him his flowers while he was living? You understand what I'm saying?
I think a lot of people feel that way.
Well, but see, okay. Well, the fans are the one that being manipulated and forced to take that outside world, which is nothing but the devil of. Oh man, it's unreal. It ain't nothing that individuals won't do. But if you got any type of beings about yourself, any type of, as they say, scruples, any type of manhood or any type of womanhood, they don't want that. They want to serve, but the devil is a lie. Giving God all of the glory because he brought me here. 82 years, and be 83 years and 5 months. And I thank God for everything. If it had not been for him, I wouldn't be in here.
He's definitely going to be missed.
He brought me through everything, all of the haters and everything that I've been through in the last 58 years in the wrestling business.
We definitely are going to miss him. And again, we thank Thunderbolt Patterson for joining us here to remember his friend, and that's what he was, friend and co-worker.
And I really appreciate you, Scott, for calling me and letting me talk to the fans about it, and I just the fans. They are the fans are the ones that pay the bills, and all of that money that all of those crooks and bad people are storing up and misusing and whatever, the fans, because if it wasn't for the fans, there would not be none of us. And it's just almost a shame of how the individuals that don't even care about themselves and still, the race game is solid. It's still going. And the fans have been denied of. One time they told me I was the people's champion.
Ole Anderson.
Are you hearing me?
I do.
Are you hearing me?
I do.
Ole, rest in peace.
Yep. Ole Anderson, gone at the age of 81, and we thank the legendary Thunderbolt Patterson for remembering his friend and co-worker for many, many years, Ole Anderson. Thank you, Thunderbolt. It's always a pleasure.
Thank you, Scott. You have a blessed day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye now.